Good morning all. Welcome to the class of Optical Communication EC 8751 and Unit 1 Introduction to Optical Fibers. Welcome you all. So the objectives of the course is to study about the various optical fiber modes, configuration and transmission characteristics of optical fibers, to learn about the various optical sources, detectors and transmission techniques, to explore various idea about optical fiber measurements and various coupling techniques, and to enrich the knowledge about optical communication systems and networks. So motivations. First, what are the motivations of optical communication? Internet growth, requirement of high speed data, huge bandwidth requirement, increase in PC storage capacities and processing power, and remote access. So these are some of the motivations behind the development of optical communication. And coming to the history, so the optical communication era begins with the invention of laser in 1960, that is light amplification by simulated emission of radiation. And optical frequencies are of the order of 5 to 10 power 14 gigahertz, and it exceeds microwave systems by a factor of 10 power 5. Initially, the losses were more than 1000 dB per kilometer, and hence it becomes not feasible feasible to use the optical fiber communication. But later on, after the invention of this lossless fiber by Cow and Hockman in 1966, so impurities were less in the material, so we can that make fiber optic communication feasible. Okay, in 2009, Charles Casey Cow was awarded Nobel Prize in Physics for development of low-loss optical fibers, and practical light-wave communications began in 1978. These systems operate in the near-infrared region of the EM spectrum. So, what are the advantages of optical fiber communication? Means long-distance transmission, large information capacity, small size and low weight, immunity to electrical interference, enhances safety, increases signal security. So these are the advantages offered by optical communication. And coming to the spectrum of EM radiation, so here there are three types of representation. One is in frequency scale, another one is photon energy, or in photon energy unit of which is electron volt, and another one is wavelength in meter. Okay, so it optical fiber communication works from it operates from the infrared light, near infrared to visible light, so visible light. So this has been marked here. So the fiber optics 770 to 1675 nanometer. Okay, and after in case of frequency scale, it is 375 to 176 terahertz. So the optical spectral bands, what are the optical spectral bands? Means O band, E band, S band, C band, L band and U band. So accordingly the wavelength nanometer ranges. So these are the wavelength descriptions for the different bands of different optical spectral bands. So the bands are EDFA, erbium doped fiber amplifier. Okay, so O means original band, extended band, short band, conventional band. C band means conventional band, long band, ultra long band, and EDFA means erbium doped fiber amplifier. Okay, these are the optical spectral bands, and basically three relationships are being used. It is C equal to lambda V. So C equal to 3 to 10 power 8 meter per second. Lambda is the wavelength and V is the velocity of light. V is the velocity of light in medium. Nu is a frequency. So here nu is the frequency. C equal to lambda nu. Another one is the relationship between energy of a photon and its frequency. E equal to h into nu. So this is H is a Planck's constant. Okay, this is called Planck's law. And another one is in terms of wavelength, this can be represented as E in electron volt equal to 1.2406 by lambda in micrometer. So this is E in electron volt. So, and hence what do you mean by decibel units? The power ratio is expressed as 10 log P2 by P1, where P2 is the power measured at point 2 and P1 is the original power at point P1. Okay, 10 log P2 by P1. So when attenuation is measured, it is 10 log P1 by P2, which is given by 0.1. So the representative values of decibel power loss and the remaining percentage. Suppose power loss is 0.1 dB means, then percentage of power left is 98%. So in the transmitted power, 98% has been left. Suppose if the power loss in dB is 20 dB, then only 1% of the transmitted power has been left. Okay, so this is how the calculations has been done, and the calculations used is 10 log to the base 10 P1 by P2. 10 log to the base P1 by P2. Okay, decibel units. Next, we can also express in a dBm or dB micro. dBm means decibel in milliwatt, dB micro means decibel in microwatt. So decibel in milliwatt means 10 log P in milliwatt by 1 milliwatt. Similarly, decibel in microwatt means 10 log P in microwatt by 1 microwatt. That is 10 power minus 6. Milliwatt means 10 power minus 3. So this is the table which shows 200 milliwatt for 200 milliwatt, decibel in equivalent is 23 dB, which is equal to 200 milliwatt. Okay, like that dBm equivalent 200 milliwatt means, suppose we 200 milliwatt means we have to calculate as 10 log 200 by what we have to do, 10 log 200 by 1 milliwatt. So 10 log 200 by 1, that means 10 log 200, which is given by 23 dBm. So 200 milliwatt is expressed as 23 dBm. Okay, like that we have to calculate. Then this diagram shows the, so point P1, this is a transmission line. So point P2 minus 9 dB. So there occurred a loss of minus 9 dB. From point 2 to point 3 there exists an amplifier. So it boosts the level, amplifier boosts the level of the power by plus 14 dB. And point 3 to point 4 there is a loss minus 3 dB. So from point 1 to point 4, how do you calculate? Minus 9 plus 14 is plus 5. Plus 5 minus 3 is 2 dB. So there is an increase in dB of plus 2 dB. Okay, thus the signal has a 2 dB gain in power in going from point 1 to point 4. So these are the network information rates of the different techniques. So DS0, DS1, E1. So these are the digital multiplexing level, and what is the number of channels available. So this table shows the digital multiplexing levels used in North America, Europe and Japan. Network information rates, at what rate the data is transmitted. Okay. So a standard signal format called synchronous optical network, SONET means synchronous optical network, is used in North America. And the standard signal format called SDH, that means synchronous digital hierarchy, is used in other parts of the world. Okay, in North America SONET is being used, and in other parts of the world we are using SDH, synchronous digital hierarchy. STS stands for synchronous transport signal, and OC stands for the optical carrier. So OC1 and STS1. Okay, OC3 means STS3, electrical level is STS3. Okay, like that it is being standardized. And what is the data rate for that? STS1 means 51.84, STS3 means 3 into 51.84. So that is given by 155.52 megabits per second. Okay, SDH stands for synchronous digital hierarchy, and STS stands for synchronous transport signal. OC stands for optical carrier. So these are the notations being used in optical communication network information rates. Then what do you mean by WDM? WDM stands for wavelength division multiplexing. That means many independent information bearing signals are sent along a fiber simultaneously. Independent signals are carried on different wavelengths. So different signals are carried in different wavelengths. Suppose in frequency division multiplexing, different signals are carried in different frequencies. So here different signals are carried in different wavelengths. Okay, so that is called the wavelength division multiplexing. And there are two types: coarse WDM and dense WDM are the two major wavelength multiplexing techniques. Wavelength routing and switching techniques based on light paths are being developed. So depending upon the wavelength WDM, we are developing wavelength routing and switching techniques. Okay, so here when you consider lambda 1 is one wavelength, lambda 2 is another one wavelength. All these are multiplexed and transmitted along the same channel. Okay, same optical fiber. So that is called wavelength division multiplexing. And key elements, what are coming to the key elements of optical fiber systems? A transmitter, a cable, a receiver. Okay, so main thing is, so at the input side there is a transmitter, and then optic fiber cable is there, and then at the receiver we have a receiver. So for the optical transmitter, what are the transmitter? LED or laser source are mainly being used as optical transmitter. Light emitting diode and laser source are being used in the optical are using as the optical sources, and at the receivers we are using the photodiode, avalanche photodiode, phototransistor, that is it converts. So here the electrical signal is converted into light signal transmitted, and once again the light signal has to be converted into electrical signal at the receiver. So through the fiber the light is transmitted. So there is optic fiber, and other components are optical amplifiers, connectors, splicers. So to join two fibers we need connectors, splicers, couplers, regenerators and other passive and active devices. So these are the key elements of optical fiber system. So this diagram shows the key elements of fiber optic system, which includes the optical transmitter, fiber cable, and then again at the receiver. Okay, for transmitter LED or laser, receiver we have the photodiode or phototransistor. Okay, so this is what I have said, it's been there. Next, this is the optical fiber cable. So it can be how the cables are installed. It can be either through underground cable or overhead cable. That is, it can be directly buried in the underground, or through ducts it may pass through. So this figure shows the different types of installation of optic fiber cables. Okay, so that whatever I have explained is here. Undersea, transoceanic. So these are the different splicing together individual cable sections. Splicing together individual cables. Individual cables can be connected by splicing techniques. Okay, so these are the things. And the functions of the transmitted electrons are to set and stabilize the source operating point output power level. Okay, so these are the components functions. And receiver, as far as the receiver is concerned, the figure of merit is a parameter. The principal figure of merit is a minimum optical power that is necessary at the desired data rate to attain a given error probability. So what is the minimum optical power? So what is the minimum optical power necessary to attain a given probability error? So let's 0.0001. So out of 1 million bits, I can have a tolerance of 1 bit error. So what is the desired probability error? What is the minimum optical power required? So that is called the figure of merit. Okay, photodetector is mainly used as the receiver. Couplers, splitters, multiplexers, and light signal modulators, optical attenuators, switches. These are the components of fiber optic communication system. Repeater means it performs. So there are two things. One is a repeater. Which performs photon to electron conversion, electrical amplification, and then once again electron to photon conversion. So this is a repeater. Another one is optical amplifier, which directly amplifies the light signal. So direct amplification of the light signal is performed by the optical amplifier, whereas in case of a repeater, photon to electron conversion, again electron to photon amplification, and then again electron to photon. These are the components for key elements of the optic fiber communication system. The parameters are bit error rate, timing jitter, signal to noise ratio. So these are the parameters. Okay. So next is coming to the standards. The three basic classes of fiber optics are primary standards, component testing standards, and system standards. Primary standards deal with physical parameters such as attenuation, bandwidth, operation characteristics of fibers, optical power lead, spectral widths. Component testing standards define tests for fiber optic component performance and establish equipment calibration procedure. Okay. Last one is system standards. System standards refer to measurement methods for optic fiber links and networks. Okay, such as IEEE, ITUT. So these are the system standards. So three types of standards: primary standards, component testing standards, and system standards. Okay. So this is how the fiber optic communication system works. Original signal, the signal may be somewhat attenuated. So this is called attenuated signal, and amplified signal. And at point 3, it has been received. Attenuated and amplified signal has been received. Okay. So next, coming to the next topic. So we have somewhat seen about the introduction of the fiber optic communication. Next, we will discuss about the optical laws and definition. Okay. So there are two types of theories are being considered. One is particle theory and another one is wave theory. Okay. So the two types of laws or theories are applicable to optic fiber communication. One is particle theory and another one is wave theory. So in our particle theory, light is considered as particles. In wave theory, light is considered as an electromagnetic wave. So these two are applicable. So the combination of particle theory and wave theory are being considered. Okay. So the light in the 17th century, light consisted of a stream of particles are emitted by luminous sources. They penetrate transparent materials but reflected from opaque ones. And this was established by Fresnel. Later work of Maxwell. After Maxwell's equations. After the existence of Maxwell's equation, so this light waves must be electromagnetic in nature. The concept came that light waves must be electromagnetic in nature. Okay. So next, further observation of polarization effects indicated the light waves are transverse. Light waves are transverse. That is light wave. That is the electric field, magnetic field, and the direction of propagation are mutually perpendicular to each other. So the electromagnetic waves radiated by a small optical source can be represented as a train of spherical wavefronts with the source at the center. The wavefront is defined as the locus of all the points in the waveplane that have the same phase. Thus, the wavefronts are separated by one wavelength.